Hey, YouTube, petey twofinger, bright morning, early morning. Good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Is that okay? I hope so. Today I'm going to be doing more recommendations. I did an earlier recommendation video with Stanley Clark's 2001 Space Odyssey, the book and the movie. This would be a great gift idea, or if you've never checked them both out, put them on your Christmas list. Also, he wrote another book called Childhood's End. That was the precursor. It's a science fiction odyssey. It's a great story. My favorite book, uh, arguably. I've got a few favorite books. Now, Sci-Fi, the Sci-Fi Channel, SYFY, did a mini series on that. I forget the year. It was in the, like, after 2010. Let me see if I can find the year on that. 2015, right. But, like, yeah, definitely read the book. That's what we want to do. When there's a master work and it's written on paper, you want to read that. You don't want to watch the TV version of it. You can come back and watch the TV version later, and you'll just be like, I'm so glad I read the book. So 2001 was a like a landmark thing, and it really cemented Kubrick as a master. And there's all this kind of moon landing stuff and controversy. We're gonna sidestep that. I'm just gonna say that when I was a kid and I saw it, it made quite an impression on me. This was more real than real. It really looked real. It really felt like space, and how massive everything was, and how slow. Like there's no dialogue for the first 20 minutes. It's really puts you in this state of mind that this is like real. It's not Hollywood at all. It's the opposite. It's torturously long and drawn out, much like Pink Floyd, how Pink Floyd operated. So it's just interesting that I really love that type of music, and then I see this directorial style, and of course, I go crazy for it. The problem with Kubrick was there wasn't enough. It was like they needed to clone him. They needed a dozen Stanley Kubricks putting out more movies. So that movie left quite an impression on everybody. It's a classic, it's a meme, it's a thing, and people have paid homage to that. But most of the time, when you see science fiction stuff, the space scenes, they're from a different, like, you want to go to the worst of the worst, like Battle Beyond the Stars, or Space Cowboys, like Battlestar Galactica type of, or the ship comes in and flies at you, and the physics of it are all wrong, and even the dimensions look like they're playing around. Like it doesn't look real at all. None of it looks real. It looks imposed. The lasers are on another plane and they're not quite lined up. Just like really bad. Looking back to the early Flash Gordon stuff where they've got a rocket on a string and the smoke is going up and the vehicle is rocking back and forth on the string. That type of comically bad special effects, that's the norm. Is what you see is just kind of taken for granted Star Wars copy. And I saw a lot of that content as a kid growing up through the 80s, all these Star Wars ripoffs. So now we've got CGI and we've got ways to rise above that. And what's crazy about it is that Kubrick did it in '68, and nobody ever got back to that level of quality. Now I would have to go through and look at a list of the movies with the best special effects and think, Interstellar or whatever else movies I'm forgetting that I've seen because I have a horrible memory. I'm sure there's plenty of movies that have fantastic special effects. But what I'm here to talk about is Ad Astra. That's the Brad Pitt thing. It just came out. The Blu-ray is going to be released on December 17th. So I saw this movie last night on a free streaming service, probably at 720p or 720i. I'm not sure. It isn't Super HD or Blu-ray by far, but the movie looks really good. The sci-fi, the space stuff is some of the best space stuff I've ever seen. It's surpassing Kubrick. Now there's this kind of massive and bloated like element to it that I didn't get that as much with Ad Astra. And there was also, well, there is some. The first scene is unbelievable. With 2001, there's issues with how it's confusing. It doesn't really make a real lot of sense because there's huge sections missing. There's also kind of a sterile, cold feeling and a lack of empathy. It's a little bit just horrific, the ending. But it's a work of art, and there's beauty in that. So, Ad Astra doesn't have that necessarily profound type of thing that we have in 2001, or this like horror of death and aging that you have. It doesn't have any of that stuff. It's a watered down story, very similar to Hearts of Darkness, which is a road movie. Apocalypse Now. It's a road movie where they're on a boat, and as they're traveling, they're encountering different foes and situations that put their lives in danger. And then at the end of the river, they know the big kahuna. They have this confrontation. So that's the gist of it. And without giving too much away, if I want to be hypercritical, there was a lack of empathy, and you kind of got away from the feeling of it's very easy to forget that we're talking about humanity here. Like, if this guy doesn't succeed, everyone is going to die. That was kind of, I was lured into the spectacular special effects, and I lost that. There's this like overbearing, futuristic space corps, like the government, how we're controlled, is so overbearing in this movie. that element worked really, really well. But again, if I want to be hypercritical, the whole end, the way that they dealt with the end, was a little bit too quick for me. I would have liked. It just didn't feed the bulldog, the ending, at all. I didn't like the ending. It shouldn't have went the way that it did. It should not have went the way that it did. Then you get to these plot holes and like ridiculous physics stuff where, unless the hand of God literally reached down and intervened, this would never have happened. Like phony, fake stuff. So the movie is certainly not perfect, but I'm kind of being hypercritical. It's a sci-fi movie, and yeah, blah blah blah, it's not perfect, but it's certainly not enough to make it like, oh, that movie wasn't, it was a 5, it was a 6.5. This movie's like an 8. It's really, really good. And the if you can forget if you can forgive that stuff I'm talking about, it gets up into 9.5 territory pretty quickly. Because I just wish they could remake the end. If they could just change a couple things in the end, this movie would have been perfect for me. So, Ad Astra DVD is out now. You can check it out on 123 Movies. I would say, you know what, it's still at the theater. You need to go to the theater and see this thing. But the DVD is out. The Blu-ray is going to be coming out December 17th. And the other recommendation I had is Star Wars A New Hope. There's a novel called The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy. So A New Hope, of course, is episode 4 or Star Wars. With Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi, the first 3 movies. This is the first story. It's where we're introduced to Darth Vader, Princess Leia, R2-D2, C-3PO, Stormtroopers, Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan, Han Solo, Chewbacca, Greedo, the Death Star explodes, Porkins. So this novel, it came out in 2015. It's Star Wars canon, and it's highly reviewed. It's like a 4.1 out of 5. So definitely a great gift idea, and it's not going to hurt your wallet too much. So again, to review, I had recommended 2001 Space Odyssey, the DVD, and the book. If you've got somebody on your list you think that would blow their mind, get them both. Or if you can't afford it, just get them the book. Because that's going to be the one, that's the thing, the book. And again, if you have a reader fan, somebody that likes to read, even if they're not into sci-fi, Childhood's End is a magnificent choice. The only thing is it would be a bit heavy. If you've got a niece or a nephew and they're able to handle things like apocalyptic themes and heavy, like it's a heavy book. So unless we're talking plus 18, if you give it to your 14-year-old niece, the dad might want to have some words with you if he picks the thing up in the bathroom, because it's horrific. It's a horrific book. And then recommending the Star Wars novel, The Princess, the Scoundrel, and the Farm Boy, A New Hope. And then last but not least, this DVD or Blu-ray of this wonderful science fiction film that I felt a lot of connection with 2001 Space Odyssey. I don't want to say, oh, it's just like it and the special effects were similar. It was that the feeling of quality that it would it felt really legit, and I just dug it to the point where normally when I see a science fiction movie, I'm cringing through those space scenes. This time I was like, holy cow, this is really good. It was that quality level. It's not that he's aping Kubrick at all. There's no similarity to it. And that expansive feeling is not really used, that massive. But there is some similarities, but this is much more of an action type of movie. So I would say you're safe to watch the preview. Check out the preview. And let me know if any of this strikes a chord, if you do go through and use any of these as a gift idea. I would appreciate you coming back and letting me know what you thought. Or if you've absorbed any of these works, please let me know what your thoughts on it was. All right, you guys, enjoy. Happy holidays. Again, good thoughts, good words, good deeds. Peace.